Hi everyone, my name is Peyton and I'm excited to talk to you about the new Ghost 17. Remember, if you want to take a look at these, come try them on in-store or check us out online at racketsandrunners.ca. So first off, the Ghost 17 is what I would consider a more traditional style road runner. What this means is that it tends to have a bit of a higher heel drop and it has enough cushioning that you can train for a marathon in. This shoe is going to be very similar style shoe to the New Balance 880, the Mizuno Wave Rider, the A6 Gel Cumulus. Those types of shoes fit into the same category as this shoe. This type of shoe makes a great everyday runner, so you can take it on your long distance runs, your recovery runs, and it has enough responsiveness that you could use them for faster or tempo runs if you would like. So, how does the new Ghost 17 compare to the older Ghost 16? First off, one of the most noticeable differences is that the Ghost 17 got a major overhaul in the looks department as compared to the Ghost 16. I found that the Ghost 17 looks a little bit more like the Ghost 14 and 15s, and I also found that the Ghost 17 is just a bit of a more attractive looking shoe overall. The features of the shoe stayed pretty similar. They used the same type of cushioning in the bases of the shoe. The biggest difference with the Ghost 17 is that they actually added stack height in both the front and the back of the shoe, and they decreased the heel drop. So the heel drop in the Ghost 16 was 12 millimeters. The heel drop in the Ghost 17 is now 10 millimeters, but it does have a higher stack height. With the higher stack height, they were also able to add more of a slight rocker shape to the shoe, which you can see here compared with the Ghost 16. The Ghost 16 does not have a very pronounced rocker at all. In terms of fit, the Ghost 17, I would say, is a better fit compared to the Ghost 16. The Ghost 16, they overcorrected and put a wider toe box in the front of the shoe. A lot of people also found that the toe box was too roomy and needed to go to a narrow or felt like it was a bit of a sloppy fit. They fixed this in the Ghost 17. The Ghost 17 is by no means a narrower shoe. It's just more streamlined and not as boxy as the Ghost 16. If you enjoyed the wider toe box in the Ghost 16, the Ghost 17 does come in wides and extra wides, and if you need a narrow fit, it also comes in narrows. I found that the Ghost 17 fit much more comfortably and it felt like it hugged my foot better. It also had a really nice secure heel cup that I didn't notice in the Ghost 16 at all, and so I didn't have to lace up the shoes super tight to feel like I was held securely in the back of the shoe. The main difference that I found in the shoe is that even though they used the same type of cushioning, they didn't change the cushioning formula at all, I found that the cushioning in the Ghost 17 felt a lot more comfortable while I was running. This increased stack height plus the lower heel drop, I felt like the forefoot of the shoe was actually quite a bit stiffer in this shoe. Personally, when I wore the Ghost 16, I found the front of the shoe to be way too flexible for the type of shoe that I like, and I could feel the ground with each step that I took. Whereas in the Ghost 17, I found that that stiffer forefoot for me was much more comfortable to wear for long periods of time because I didn't feel as much pressure on the bottom of my feet, because that stiffer forefoot plus this slight rocker shape helps move the foot forward a little more. To me, the Ghost 17 was more reminiscent of the Ghosts 14 and 15. To me, the Ghost 16 was a little bit away from kind of what the Ghost line stands for. So to me, the improvements in the Ghost 17 were fantastic, and I didn't really find any drawbacks within this shoe. If you're a bit of a running shoe nerd like me, I've seen consensus on some running forums that Brooks tried to almost Novoblastize this shoe. What I mean by that is that they took a more traditional everyday runner and they made it a bit more responsive so you could use it for more speed workouts. I wouldn't say this is quite to the level of the Novoblast, but I did find that this was a fairly responsive shoe, especially when compared to like the New Balance 880 or the older version of the Ghost. It has just a bit of a firmer cushioning that allows you to do that. So overall, I think this is a great shoe for everyday runs, and it's responsive enough that you can use it for tempo runs if you need to. Just to give you guys a little bit more perspective, I do want to compare how the Ghost 17 stacks up to the rest of the Brooks lineups. So first we'll take a look at how it compares to the Brooks Adrenaline. The Ghost and the Adrenaline are sister shoes. This is a neutral shoe, whereas this is the same style of shoe, but it is a supportive shoe. What supportive means is that it has arch support built into the side of the shoe here. It just helps prop your foot into a better position when your muscles are starting to get tired. Long story short, the cushioning technology in both of these shoes is the same. This one just has a stabilization unit in it that helps support your arch, and this one is a neutral shoe. That being said, if you do have your own orthotic or over-the-counter inserts to help give you support, you do need to go with the Ghost 17 as opposed to the Adrenaline, since this is a neutral shoe and you will not be overcorrecting if you put your orthotic in. The inserts of the shoes do come out so your orthotic can fit properly into the shoes. All right, next in the lineup is the Brooks Glycerin. Where you would choose the Glycerin over the Ghost is if you are wanting a shoe more geared for longer distance running, or if you like a softer shoe. The Glycerin uses a different cushioning system, so it has larger cushioning cells in the back of the shoe and smaller ones in the front. That means you have a bit of a denser cushioning in the front while the back is more spongy. So it helps absorb the impact, and then it lets you push off with a little bit more responsiveness than you would be if it had the bigger cells at the back of the shoe. I would say both of these would work as an everyday runner. If you prefer a bit of a softer feel, you would want to go with the Glycerin 22. That being said, I personally was a really big fan of the Glycerin 21. The Glycerin 21 was a little bit more firm than the Glycerin 22, and I found that the Ghost 16 felt a little bit more like the Glycerin 21, especially since they added more stack height to this shoe. So if you were a fan of the Glycerin 21, I would definitely also give the Ghost a try if you're looking for a new pair of shoes, in addition to trying the new Glycerin 22 and just figure out which one feels best for you. Another shoe that it often gets compared to is the Ghost Max. So the Ghost 17 and the Ghost Max 2 are very different shoes. The Ghost Max 2 is a maximalist shoe here. You can see the differences in their profiles is quite stark. It also has a much stiffer forefoot and a more pronounced rocker in the front as compared to the Ghost 17. Where you would choose one of these shoes over the other, again, if you're looking for an everyday runner, the Ghost 17 is going to be your bet. If you're looking for a long distance, an easy long distance shoe, or if you have any foot issues and you've been prescribed a shoe, or you're looking for a shoe to wear to work all day or to travel, the Ghost Max 2 is a bit of a better fit because of the increased cushioning throughout here. It's like wearing an orthopedic mat under your foot all day. Of course, there's also the Glycerin Max, which is a bit more of a running geared version of this shoe. And last but not least, there is the Brooks Launch. So the Brooks Launch is more of a tempo running geared shoe. So it has a lower stack height, it's not as stiff, and it's a bit more minimal in the style of shoe. It's much lighter as well. So if you're looking for a speed running shoe, the Launch might be a better fit than the Ghost 17. So that's how the new Ghost 17 stacks up against the rest of the Brooks lineup. I think this shoe is a massive improvement on the Ghost 16, and I think this shoe is going to be very popular in the upcoming seasons. Remember, if you want to try these on, you can come visit us in store, or if you'd like to buy them, you can take a look at our website at racketsandrunners.ca.